Public anxiety about AI is at a record high in the UK, with recent polls showing a majority of Britons view the technology as a risk to society and their jobs, while research confirms our ability to focus has plummeted to an average of just 47 seconds per task. In this climate of digital distraction and technological distrust, Tim Wilson, the CEO and head of innovation at Tempo Reading, is positioning his company as an antidote. An AI innovator and a world-class musician with a passion for slow is fast learning techniques, Tim's venture, Tempo Reading, uses AI not to replace human connection, but to restore it, aiming to increase student attention spans and access a state of flow for improved academic performance. As the UK public grapples with the crisis of trust in AI, where 72% are unsure if online content can be trusted and 73% have no AI training, Tim's work represents a critical test. Can AI be harnessed to solve the very problems of concentration and comprehension that the digital age has exacerbated? So we are now going to welcome Tim Wilson. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you very much.
So, Tim, you have a philosophy of slow is fast learning. So, in a world where the average attention span on screen is now just 47 seconds, how does Tempo's technology practically retrain the brain for sustained focus?
Well, I think the first thing is to think of us as sort of the Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia of AI. We're on the right side, yeah. So not the dark side. I think if you look at, we've obviously got a huge issue with TikTok, doom scrolling, social media, notification, cognitive overload. And what that's doing is it's people's attention spans need entertainment. They need dopamine. That's addictive. So we can concentrate looking at reels all day long, okay? But there's no deep concentration. There's no focus, which is required to learn. So what we've done is build a piece of technology that takes two concepts. The first is metacognitive learning, which is slow is fast learning. It's how elite musicians, sports stars, chess players learn. You can't skim learn to serve like Roger Federer, play guitar like Jimi Hendrix, or chess like Magnus Carlsen. You have to slow down, understand all these concepts, and give your brain time to understand them. So that is at the core of Tempo Reading, really, is to take that approach and then combine it with another approach, which is called neurocognitive entrainment. It basically says this, that if you can align information with the neural pulse, you've got one, I've got one, it's all alpha beta wave territory, you can actually accentuate learning by a huge factor. So our goal is not for AI to make us stupid like ChatGPT is. It's reducing cognition and creativity. It's actually to make our own brains the smartest computer in the galaxy, as far as we know, even smarter, and to give every learner access to elite flow state. So we can all access that elite learning state that Roger Federer has, Serena Williams, I'm a big tennis player, Jimi Hendrix, Magnus Carlsen. We're going to provide that to every child. And we can do that within 60 seconds. We can put a child into their flow state in 60 seconds. So we call it assisted AI. And as I said, we're definitely on the light side rather than the dark side. So.
I mean, that sounds really impressive. Of course, it would be great if suddenly one day you could just pick up a tennis racket or a guitar and then make money, because it does seem that our lack of interest in potentially keeping focus is all related to what we're seeing around us. And you've been a musician and you've understood the ins and outs, but why do you think we've got to this point, really, where our focus has become so low?
Well, I think the algorithms in the social media sites are designed to do that. So people really don't realize how manipulated they're being. They're being manipulated very heavily. They're not aware of it. And there's a thing called willful blindness. People don't want to know what's there. Yeah. And it's here. And, in our talks with teachers at schools, they will say the attention span of children is rapidly less than what it was a decade ago, or even 5 or 10 years ago. And I have to turn my phone off, Instagram off on Monday morning. I'm allowed it back on Friday, and that's my 13-year-old daughter telling me that. So I may be here with a solution, but I'm just as much a victim as anybody else. The things are very addictive. The passion for this project really just comes from, I achieved a law degree. I then went to a music school where I was taught how to learn, which is slow, fast learning. That was an epiphany. Roll on 20 years later, my daughter's using her iPad and she's skim reading. And I was like, no, that's not how you learn. Skimming does not help you learn things. So that was the inspiration. And we need to get smarter. We've got less people working. We've got declining demographics. People are going to have to work for longer. And AI is going to take a lot of jobs. Yeah. So we've got to, for ourselves, get smarter, be more, perform better. Have smarter politicians. That might be a big win. There we go.
And of course, this is a company that you founded. What are you seeing when you speak to young people? How are they learning that slow fast process, and how are their brains changing? You say 60 seconds, you can transfer your focus and your brain, but a bit more longer term, do young people keep that learning method as they go forward?
Well, this is why we're on the very frontier globally of this technology. It's why UK Innovate, which is the UK government's deep tech body, granted us money. It's why we're going to be working with Swansea University, why we've been chosen by the London Mayor's Office and Fidelity to be part of their elite deep tech program. We're on the very frontier of this. But just think of it like you're training a muscle. If you go to the gym and you lift a weight, it gets stronger. So the longer you're in flow state, the longer you're in deep learning, that's going to have a long-term impact for you. But the other thing, Alex, is making people self-aware that they have a flow state. Most people don't realize it. And we all have them. The hairdresser cutting hair, the driver driving, where you switch off and you just zone in. That's just the same as somebody playing guitar or music. If you can access that flow state, and flow states are a very happy state of mind for the brain. It's non-anxious, it's non-critical, it's non-self-critical, and you're hyper-focused with low anxiety. So if we can help people understand that, hey, you can access this pretty quickly when you learn, that's going to be a lifelong tool and skill that you will pass on through your entire workplace career and education.
And you mentioned the grants there, and you mentioned working with the Swansea University. And are you happy that the government's also pushing for this kind of movement forward? They seem to be quite determined that they're looking into AI causes and degenerative loss and helping.
I think that is smart to do it. We're actually there's the Department of Education have got some up and coming trials coming up. We hope to be part of that. In terms of, I think it's just the way AI is used. If you use it to become lazier, then you will definitely lower your IQ. If you use it to think smart, work smart, then it can help you. So we're very much, as I said, we're not using AI to generate content or give answers. We're just using it in our technology to do analysis and help the way our system works. It couldn't work without that help of the AI. But really, what we're on about is just how to improve this supercomputer that we have inside our own skull.
I think you made a great point there, didn't you? That ChatGPT and others like it as well are very much an echo chamber, and that is causing a loss of IQ in a sense. Of course, there are ways a lot of people learn is quite different. In generally, I know the slow fast method does work for some people. Some people are more kinetic, some people are more audio. Do you ensure that you're covering a wider range of behavioral traits when you're looking at moving forward?
Well, we're very focused on text, so we're not on the visual. But essentially, if you think about your tempo of learning, I mean, for instance, we should be talking now about 140 words per minute. That's how you do a TED talk. That's probably how you speak naturally. That allows your audience to consume the information and connect it to pre-existing knowledge. If you were an aircraft engineer reading a safety report, you should read that at probably 80 words per minute because it's very technical. We're most probably reading, the both of us, at 250, 300 words per minute. Now, that's fine for Harry Potter, but it's not good if you want to absorb information. And I don't know if you remember coastal erosion in geography. It's like, if that's still a subject of hell, it's very annoying. It's very boring. There's no dancing cats to help you keep focused. You've got to learn to slow down. That's the only way to absorb this information. And as I said, we've got centuries upon centuries of evidence from all the elite musicians, sports stars, and chess players that we've seen through history. They didn't fast learn their way to success.
And there's always going to be that concerns now about AI causing potentially a loss of human interaction. And even having that learning, that method, it is something that AI is going to potentially focus on. So how can you ensure that it does foster that genuine engagement with others around them? Because that is currently also a problem we're seeing in the younger generation.
Yeah, I think that's more connected to social media. It's interesting. In the past, I worked on another platform. We did a lot of studies on gaming, which has a lot of negative connotations. Yeah, but then a lot of people who are quite introverted found it a great way to communicate with other people, make friends globally and stuff. So I think there's always two sides to that. I just think, with the AI situation in terms of the LLMs, chat GPTs, we do have to be careful, but they do have a lot of power. They can help business, especially. I mean, think about the legal situation. It cuts a lot of time out and cost. Not having to use lawyers for weeks and weeks on end, when you can put a contract and get an analysis, still use your lawyer, but speed the process up. And for us on tempo reading, it's again the research we're using is very established, but we're touching on very new frontiers of science. But generally speaking, 30 minutes in flow state reading would be an hour to an hour and a half of normal reading. So you free up other time. Yeah. And we are a digital antidote to those negative screens. We're the positive. I said to you, the Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia of the screen use. It's a terrible analogy. I apologize.
I'm sure it's been used often, though. Of course, like slowing down and reading, just generally slowing down in life is a good idea. But when you take something that, say, those legal contracts that you mentioned, and you ask AI to make it simplified, are you not then leading down another path of simplifying it again and simplifying it again, and then we're getting back to the same problem of we're not reading, we're getting something else to do it, and we're still losing out on actually learning?
I think, yeah, I mean, obviously that's not where we're positioned, but I think for the LLMs, it's all about the question you ask them. Yeah, it's the same question you'd ask your teacher at school. If you ask them a stupid question, you get stupid. Maybe don't get the smartest answer. So I think with the LLMs, it is all about the prompts, how well you use them. Yeah, and I think if you don't use them correctly, there is dangers. If you use them smartly, they can be a lot of use to you. Yeah. But for us, really, it's just, as I said, come back to it. We've got a supercomputer in the head. Let's make it as smart as we can do. I'm a big believer that neurocognitive entrainment is going to have as big an impact on society as AI over the next 5 or 10 years. You see the people microdosing psychedelics in America, not something I would condone, but they're trying to use that for using brain to help with anxiety, depression. There's a lot of things we can do with this thing to make it work better, perform better, and make our lives better as well. And that's really what we are.
I mean, you talk about tempo reading in the future. We talked about university and getting some grants. But in your bigger future, those 5, 10 years that you just mentioned, what is your goal? Like, what do you hope to see?
Well, I hope quicker than that. Hopefully, I want to, be at the airport and see that the pilot reading his flight notes using tempo reading, knowing that he's focused. I want to see the surgeon do the same thing. I want to see the sports people on the side of the pitch using it. I want to see every child using that same method. And really, what it's about is everybody finding their flow state, which we call the optimum reading speed. So the reading speed where you're most focused, where you absorb information best, and you learn fastest as possible. So it's not rocket science. Yeah, it's within us. Yeah, it's all this is within us. It's just those gods like Serena Williams or Roger Federer or these people. They somehow access it easier. We're trying to give that accessibility to everybody.
And that's by slowing down and taking your time and learning.
Exactly. I mean, how many times have you heard in life, just slow down, take your time? Yeah. Or even when people who've been in a very dangerous situation say time slowed down. Yeah, that is the brain going, I need computational power. I've got to figure this out. And that's what the brain itself is doing to you. So it's all within us. All these answers are within us. Yeah, we just want to make more people turn everybody into an X-Men, what they call it off the movie thing. So.
Well, hopefully next time we meet, Tim Wilson, I might be able to be a superstar tennis player, something I've always dreamed of. But thank you so much for coming on to talk to us about tempo reading, and we look forward to seeing what it does in the future.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Alex.